Hello, everybody. I'm back. Hey, y'all know Tuesday is Tech Tuesday for me and having 1,001 issues. And Talibah did an awesome job as my host because I was watching her and I was like, oh, yeah, that's good. That sounds good. So she did an awesome and amazing job to stay in here with me and hang in there. And everybody usually does. So thank y'all so much. But we wanted to come back and finish up the conversation. And Talibah was getting started with her Get Bankable product, and she was going to tell us about that. Now, let me start with this, asking you a question about Get Bankable. How did you come up with that, and what's the concept of Get Bankable?
I am still chuckling, Lord. I don't know why I'm so silly.
I know that's how it happens, though. I'm telling you. Tuesday, look, I'm just so Tuesday tech. And look, everybody said, well, I don't know what, but I promise y'all I'm tech savvy. I'm the one do all the technical stuff in my house. My husband don't know how to do none of it.
Oh, Lord have mercy, girl. Oh, Lord.
Oh,
It's so funny. Okay.
hey guys, whoever is joining us, please put some comments, ask us some questions, personal and tax related. We are just about to get into, and Talibah, I'm gonna keep on talking while she can go
For
on, girl,
real.
go on, girl. So we have been on and off the camera enjoying our talk and enjoying ourselves. But we have 5 viewers, so viewers, please jump in, ask any questions. We're talking about business and tax information. And with me is Talibah Bayles. She is the founder and CEO of TMB Tax and Financial Services. So she's about to tell us about a new product that she has.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
bankable.
goodness. So I'm just choked up because let me tell you something. First of all, I love Arlene, and we just have the best conversations. And so trust
Yes.
and believe this will definitely go down in the books because
Yes.
I just know that we've tried everything we possibly could tonight, y'all, to get this live together. And it's just,
Ah,
I don't
and
know. So
it's the craziest thing ever. It really
it
is. But it
is
only happens when, I get on here and I'm
on
trying to, I'm like, I
Tuesdays.
know
That's
they
it.
know, they think I know what I'm doing, but I promise y'all I don't. But one thing about
Okay.
it, I tell people all the time, you have got to be able to laugh at yourself. You got to be able to go through all
Exactly.
the mistakes, the errors, and stuff. So everybody that's watching me, that's been going along with me, hey, keep going. You make your
That's
mistakes and
right. And we
you keep going. You look cute while you making your mistakes, like we looking cute tonight. We
right.
this live. So
That's right. That's absolutely right. So I
yes.
before, like if you guys were joining us, I was going over some of the lessons learned from getting folks into PPP approvals and EIDL, and really just kind of setting that foundation of the Get Bankable program and establishing the why. And so, really, just what some takeaways that I was going over is that if your business doors are still open and you want to keep them open, the real sister talk tonight is
Yes.
that you're going to have to get your affairs in order. Is no way
Yes.
around it. Whether it's a federal loan, a grant, even the private grants
Yeah.
are asking for copies of your tax returns or asking for financial documents, whether for profit or for nonprofit. I mean, I've been assisting folks in applying across the board, federal, state, and local. And the common thing asked is something that means you have to have your affairs in order. Like I said, either that's going to be in the form of a tax document or
Mm-hmm.
they're actually asking you for a financial document. So that is the why, right? Because we chose to be business owners. It is something that requires grit. It is something that that means you're built for it tough when
Yep.
you say that you want to start a business. And so, in you making that decision, the challenge tonight is we got to carry it forward. We as women have to operate with all these different crowns. That's one of the things I was talking about before. You may wear the crown of mom, may wear the crown of wife, you may wear the crown of taking care of a ill parent,
Yeah.
or something, or a W-2 job also, and then we have virtual learning, and then we have, just all these
Yes.
different things, right? All these different life issues that don't stop, right? Just because we want them to. But even in the midst of all of that, as business owners, we still have to push through, and we still got to get compliant. So, my response to that is the Get Bankable movement. And if you and we'll put the links and stuff. And actually, Arlene, you shared my testimony before the Senate Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship from
Yes.
July. But that also gives you background on why Get Bankable. Like, why do we need, as brown faces, as women owned businesses, why do we need to get bankable? What is Get Bankable? So there are a couple pillars of the Get Bankable movement that I want to go over, and allow those, that are watching to ask the common questions that typically come about when we discuss these things. And the first pillar of the Get Bankable movement is talking about your business entity type,
Yeah.
right? And so one of the most common things that I get is, I'm a sole proprietor. Is that good enough? Like, is it okay for me to, I don't want to, it's easier just to be a sole proprietor. I don't really have the time to go down to the courthouse or whatever and file paperwork. Do I need to do that? Right. And from a legal perspective, and I given an example earlier, from a legal perspective, if you have a skincare cream, any type of product, service, whatever the case may be, if something goes wrong with what you're selling, and your consumer, the person who purchased that product or service from you, chooses a financial remedy in court, if you're a sole proprietor, that's you.
Yeah.
If you have a house, that's your house. If you have
Yep.
a car, that's your car. A 401k, I mean, it's your personal assets
Yep.
are at stake if you have chosen to operate a business as a sole proprietor. And it's no way around that either. However, if you choose, and you choose legal protection, right? And of course, we're not claiming anything to go wrong, but we just talked about life happens, right?
Right.
So life happens, things happen that are out of our control. So should you choose a legal entity, the easiest thing is a single member LLC, limited liability company. And a lot of people ask, well, why are you talking about that? You're not a lawyer. Like, you're not, why, how did you start talking about that? Well, in the tax world, it's very relevant.
Yes.
It's very relevant
It is.
because if you're operating a business as a sole proprietor, and even as an LLC now, it's the same tax form.
Yes.
Okay. However, because the new tax law, well, 2 years old now, 2, 3 years old now, tax law favors corporations.
Yep.
A lot of the conversations have now shifted into, should I be an S corp?
Yeah.
That's one of the most popular questions I get. Is like, Talibah, what's an S corp? I mean, like, how does that apply to me? Should I be an S corp? Right. And so that's how I got into the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm meeting people during tax time that are in business, and they're owing, and whenever somebody's owing money, you got questions. Well,
Yep.
why do I owe? Right. And because I am one to educate and not just be ticking off the keyboard and here you go.
Yeah.
Okay. I need to explain it. And in these conversations, I was just repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly explaining, you know,
The same thing.
you're operating, yeah, you're operating, you're using your social. You don't have an EIN, you don't have a business structure. Did you know that, you're under the 3-year mark to be able to request the IRS. Because and that's one thing too with S corp, because I'm not even gonna try to dive into that because I know I'll get into my look, girl. I have my nerd hat on, and everybody be in here sleep. Now we didn't
Be like,
already
what John Talib was talking
right. They're
about?
like,
Like,
what is she talking about? But I do just for like clarity, want to say that S corp is not a legal entity. It's a tax filing status. It is
okay,
something that the IRS actually has to approve your business for to be able to apply as file taxes. I'm sorry, as a subchapter corporation, an S corporation. Okay, so just for clarity's sake, I was talking about entities, but I want to make sure that you guys understand that an S corp is not the legal entity. That's a tax filing status. Okay,
okay,
so that's the first pillar that we talk about when we talk about get bankable, because that very much affects your bottom line as it relates to taxes, and as it relates to legal protection. Okay, now the second pillar that we talk about is you prioritizing bookkeeping. Now, like I said, when it comes to the lessons learned on the COVID small business relief,
yeah,
is again the Revive Alabama grant. You had to log into my Alabama taxes portal. Again, the I think it was the Harvard Foundation. A lot of the private grants here in Alabama and elsewhere, because I have clients in Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia, those state grants and state loan opportunities all have a common thing, but because they're getting the lead from the federal, and
yeah.
that's compliance. So the question and the challenge is, what are you going to do about it? When are you going to prioritize getting your bookkeeping and accounting system in order? If I'm telling you tonight that that's what SBA disaster relief looks like and is going to require you, the challenge is, if you know that that's where you need to focus on, are you going to prioritize it? Now, so we did the scare tactic, right? We talked about, well, if you want to get some fun, now let's talk about some operational daily uses of having bookkeeping and accounting in place. All right.
Let
Now,
me ask you this question
over.
before you go into that.
Yeah.
With that, a lot of times, me myself personally, when I started my business, I just did not understand that there was an option just to go into business and not be business compliant from the beginning. I don't know how there are a lot of people, and some people have been doing it for years, just,
Mhm.
operating and doing, and you don't even have a business license. Like, how
Yeah.
are they filing taxes or even, doing that without just even having a business license? So, and I know how, but, how is that really possible? Because like you said, if something should happen and you're really not an actual business that has been formed,
Hmm.
the formation of your business, I would just be really nervous about operating like
Well, what I like to say is, that business owners are first choosing to be a business owner out of a passion to do something, right? Like you're like, I want to start a business. You're not going to choose to be a business owner in something that you don't want to do.
that. Right.
So being a business owner is typically, following a passion, following a dream. The back office, not so much. Like you're not saying, I want to, be a baker because I'm just so excited about getting my QuickBooks or I'm so excited about having this business license. You're saying, I want to do this because I love doing it. I want to follow my dreams. I want to follow my passion. And so that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you get into a position where you're making money doing that, that's the far really, like, honestly, that's the farthest thought from your mind, really, especially if you have cornered a market and you're making some real money. And so it really and truly is easy to not be compliant, because if you're in business, you're making that money. In your mind, you're in business because you're making that, so
Yeah.
the compliance part is just not, it's just not something that we all just have at the forefront of our mind all the time. And then what I really like, to talk about in this instance, and that could be a whole nother segment, really is the cultural implications behind that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like is it because culturally,
Yeah.
we don't have very many discussions growing up about financial literacy and about, hey, this is what you should do if you're looking into starting a business. There's a small business financial literacy. I know,
Yeah.
like, dating myself, I'm 41, and when I was in grade school, we had junior achievement, and I don't know if they still have junior achievement or anything like that, but this organization used to come into our classrooms in middle school and talk about financial literacy. Like, we used to learn, like, this is what it takes to be in business. This is, what saving money, and all
Yeah.
that stuff, the importance of that. And so, I think that still goes on in some aspects of school, but it's certainly not at the magnitude that it should be,
Right.
and so culturally there's a gap in that.
Yeah.
Culturally there's a gap in that. Um, there are some facts that I cite in some of my webinars about, the about for white families, you know what I mean? If we're talking about $10,
Yeah.
out of that $10, we only get about three of them when it comes to the wealthiness of Black families.
Right.
Why is it that gap? If we're talking about whites are, seven times more likely to be wealthier than Blacks, why is that?
And I'll go a step further with you to say why is that, but also the black dollar is the one that spent the most and the most that moved
Okay.
everything. So how is that that doesn't go together?
It
So what
does.
we're
You're absolutely
doing,
right.
we are spending everything we earn and all we don't earn even before we get it.
Okay, and also we're spending that not even within our communities. Well, because
Right.
first of all, the bit in not all places, right? Because there are absolutely Black meccas, that have Black business. I mean, we have obviously the fourth, the Fourth Avenue district. We have some areas where Black businesses are very much present and very much, available for patronage. But it's still that cultural thing where, hey, revert and spend those dollars with people that look like you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Keep it in your communities. There's all systematic barriers in place that are against us in that. And like I said, that's a whole segment that we can really go
Oh
into.
yes. Oh yes.
That's a week-long
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
However, just for the purposes of tonight, those things exist.
Hmm.
It don't matter how long we talk about it, or
Right.
what we say the exact reason is, or why. But the fact of the matter is, it's a reality
Yep.
that small business literacy, there's a failure in that communication. Individual financial literacy, there's a breakdown in that communication. Whether or not there's a systematic approach to keep that information from you, could possibly be, but that's what we're talking
Hmm.
about tonight. That's what you're being exposed to tonight, to say, hey, you got your slither of the information, and now you also got a challenge to say, what are you going to do about it?
Right. Right.
You
Because
know,
once we get the information, we're not supposed to keep it to ourselves. We're
right?
supposed to go out and share it and educate others. And
Absolutely.
that was one of the things that I was very, and I'm always every day try to be my best to be a information highway, a
Mm-hmm.
bridge, a
Mm-hmm.
hub, because a lot of it is we, and again, the layers were peeled back and we were exposed again when you started talking about the loans, the SDA loans, and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
because we did not have, as you said, our affairs in order.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go ahead and let everybody know, Talibah is my accountant. She is my bookkeeper. She does handle all of my stuff. And I was a hot mess when I started with Talibah. I brought Talibah a whole lot. I had a whole lot of stuff. And I
Yes.
was like, Talibah, just tell me how much out, cause and I already told her friend, look, this is gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a problem. So when you have customers like Arlene, and she walked me through everything, and she
Mhm.
did take me step by step. And one thing about us, we don't like to talk about our finances because we may not be financially secure as we, portray on Facebook and all these
Mhm.
other great and awesome places that we congregate.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I want people to understand that we've got to get to a comfort level in which we talk about and discuss money openly and honestly, especially with someone like you that can help us and look at things where we need to address some issues or
Mhm.
have a better understanding as to where our money is going.
Absolutely. And Arlene, just as Arlene said, here TNB Tax and Financial Services, it's a no judgment zone. Because having been in this tax industry since 2006, knowing that this is already something that causes anxiety, like taxes. Nobody
Yeah.
likes taxes. You know what I mean? Unless you're a nerd like me, or or this is your business. Most people dread taxes,
Yep.
right? Because they're just like, ooh, I just, and so knowing that, right? My goal has developed over the years to be to say, hey, you know what? If you have a couple of years you need to get caught up, this is the place you want to do that, because I need you to get caught up. You know what I mean? We can't keep putting it off, because two things that you can't get rid of, even through bankruptcy: student loans and taxes.
Yep. Yep.
It's
Yep.
just, I mean, it just doesn't go anywhere. And so putting it off because you're embarrassed, or, whatever the case may be, or putting it off because you owe, like, that doesn't make it go away.
Right.
The
Right.
opposite is instead should be, just like Arlene said, go ahead and feel vulnerable with someone that you can
Yes.
trust, that's kind of laid that carpet out there for you to come in. Because a lot of times when folks that have come in and they're like, I got a couple years to catch up on, and they're thinking, oh my goodness, I owe all this money. A lot of times that's not even the case. A lot
Right.
of times, now you owe, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But
Yeah.
a lot of times it's not as bad as you think it is. So
Yes.
it's really just a matter of making sure that, again, you are able to be vulnerable and just say, hey, you know what? Now's the time for me to just go ahead and get caught up. And let me, to that point, now's the time really to get caught up, because the IRS has that Fresh Start initiative and
Mm-hmm.
all the different things. I mean, how easy is it now to prove that, there's less income in your home? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, these are very anxious times, and devastating times. But, leverage some of these things. You know what I mean? Like, now's the
Yeah.
time to say, hey, let me get caught up. What's the overall balance? And then, I mean, hey, if you have lost a paycheck, or something, or some other source of income in your home, leverage that.
Yeah.
Leverage that to say, hey, my income has been reduced. I can't pay this $50,000 or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it happens to be. And the federal government, having worked for the federal government for 13 years, one thing that we all learned as employees is, like, if you messed up, the best thing to do is to come clean on it
Yeah.
and not let them find out before you tell them. I mean,
Right.
and this is just the fact. And the same thing with the IRS. The best thing to do is to go ahead and file and initiate a payment plan, initiate a conversation, instead of waiting until you get a letter talking about, I'm about to lien your checking accounts.
Yes.
And even in that instance now, because I've had some clients that have gotten to that point, even in that instance, there's always an opportunity for a conversation.
Right.
So, like I said, it really, the whole Get Bankable movement encompasses all of it. It encompasses, if you need to get right on taxes, is let's get right on taxes. Again, if you need to know what your numbers are, if you need to have an accounting system in place, I'm an authorized Intuit QuickBooks reseller. Let's get you into a QuickBooks subscription for 50% off for up to a year. If you have challenged personal credit, let's talk about that. Let's
Yep.
let's start working on the personal credit. Let's start building some business credit.
Yep.
And then those of you who have seen my Facebook page or any of the other webinars, that I definitely have relationships with True Funds, Sabre Finance, other financial institutions that have awesome loan products available for business owners. And so when you get your affairs in order, we're directly connecting you with the source of funding.
Right.
So now's the time to take up the challenge to say, you know what, let me get myself in order. And even if let's say that you're not, you don't, you're not as bad off, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and you just simply just started and you're trying to navigate it. The Get Bankable program also does that. What's different about it is that you have to have bookkeeping. That's the
Yes.
core element of it.
Yes.
You're going to leave with financial documents. If you don't want to talk about anything else, you will have financial documents. And people always ask, well, I just started, or I didn't make any money, or whatever other excuse you may come up with as to why you don't have QuickBooks right now, or why you don't have or Wave or any of the accounting softwares right now. It's an excuse because
Mm-hmm.
you want to know where your money is doing. I don't care if your total income for the year is $1,000 or $1,000,000.
Right.
You want to have your systems in place because what happens when, honey, God's ready to pour down all these clients to you tomorrow, and you sitting there like, oh,
What am I gonna do? What am I supposed to do?
you know, and plus,
Yeah.
again, if we talk about the cultural and the small business financial literacy gap, we want to have our systems in place from the jump
Yeah.
because then you already have your systems fortified. So you're not even, honey, you are not even anxious or worried about those type of things, and you're focusing on your business. See, now you're back to your passion. Now you're back
And
to
that's what
doing.
happened to me. I can tell. I'm a testament. I'm a testimony.
Yeah.
That happened with me, and Talibah did get me set up on it, and walking
Mhm.
through it, and her explaining it to me. And I also went to what do we have as Small Business Week when you taught about the finances. It
Mhm.
helped me so much as far as business, and then as far as personal too, and
Mhm.
to learn about a DUNS number. I knew
Yes.
about the EIN, I had that, but you introduced me to that and had never heard of that. That's a totally different scoring system for your
Mhm.
business versus your personal credit.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
see, aren't you proud of me?
I am. You
And
put an A on that assignment.
yes, yes, yes. So
Yes.
she helped walk me through all of those things to get me familiar with the terms that I may not have been familiar with versus going in to talk to someone about my business. And I would have been sitting there like, I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? And
Mhm.
these are, just really the surface level of it, but
Mhm.
it's a lot. And so we do as business owner, and even just as in your regular finances for budgeting, you need to be familiar with all of this information. It's a lot, but it will help you, and it has helped us since
Mhm.
you've been our accountant. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing this anymore.
Mhm.
I'm just going to take it over to Talibah. Tell Roderick, give me what we supposed to take to her. Your stuff,
Yeah.
give me your stuff, and I'm taking over there to her. Or I'm gonna
Yeah.
email it to her, load it
Yeah.
up, and she even has it. Y'all, you don't even have to leave home. She'll send you a Dropbox file. She's gonna let you upload it. So she's making this process super, super easy for you to follow. And the
Mhm.
Get Bankable is just going to be another asset to arm yourself with and not losing your money.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. And some of the other things, so Arlene really did my that was the third, fourth, fifth pillar talking about business credit. But some of the questions that I get, in doing like the bookkeeping, because a lot of people, again, don't realize the power of having, a QuickBooks or a Wave, is I know a lot of us struggle with what to charge. Right. So
Yes.
that's like $1 million question. It's like you're in business and you're like, man, I don't know what to charge. Like, should I be charging this? Should I be charging that? And a lot of people don't realize, well, the answer actually is in your accounting system,
Yep.
because the pieces of the puzzle are in there. You need to know exactly how much you're paying to produce that product that you're selling.
Yep.
You also, and this goes to where Arlene was alluding to, if you're in business and you don't say you don't have a W-2, or even if you have a W-2 job, you would want to know your numbers based upon your expenses, not only just your business expenses, but your household expenses. Like,
Right.
what do you need to survive?
Yep.
What do you need to cover your rent or your mortgage, your utilities, your tuition, whatever your household expenses are? You need to know, what do I need to make in order for my bills to at least be paid,
Right.
right? So that I'm not struggling. And that comes into, again, having a budget, a business budget, looking at those numbers. Because if you know that, well, my rent or my mortgage and my utilities come out to $2,000 a month, right? That's $24,000 a year. So to me, you got to at least be making $24,000, right?
Yes. To cover
And
the
then you
necessities.
to cover the bare necessities.
Yes.
And that doesn't even include any expenses that you're going to need to actually produce your product within your business.
Hmm.
But again, when you're looking at your numbers, you're able to see, and we all know the power in seeing those things, writing
Right.
those things down. Well, having your dashboard in front of you, it serves the same purpose, which is you're looking and you're saying, this is the money in, this is the money out. I already have, okay, I need $24,000 at least so
Right.
that I can cover my household expenses, right? And
Hmm.
so you use all of those different pieces of the puzzle to determine what you charge.
Yep.
You
And
know,
see, business owners, those of you that are out there listening, um, that is like a piece of the puzzle that I was struggling with when I first started working with Talibah. And she sat down and walked me through it, and I know exactly what I needed to do and how I price my product. It is based upon, and she just gave you the formula. I don't
mhm,
care what you're selling. You
right.
got to account for everything, your time,
Mhm,
your just like you said for a baker, your ingredients,
yes.
every ingredient, not just what it takes to what you're going to sell the cake for,
Mhm,
every ingredient that you put into your product. You
mhm,
have
mhm,
got to include that in your pricing.
mhm. Absolutely.
Everything.
Absolutely. And I'll just say this too, like, when you cut corners and it becomes a part of your standard operating procedure, you're doing yourself a disservice in the
Yep.
end. Like,
Yep.
everything doesn't have to be by the book all the time. I get that. And I mean, I know there's like, oh my God, did she say that? I mean, obviously we know that, you're not going to pay your taxes on time all the time. Like, that's okay. That's okay. However, it cannot become a pattern. You
Right.
cannot have a workaround all the time. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? You have to, what I'm saying? You're gonna have to get it together. You know what I
Yep.
mean? You're gonna have to eventually do what you need to do in order for, I mean, for it to be something that's actually fruitful for you
Right.
as a business. And so the other thing too, and I know we're coming up, well, we're a bit over 30 minutes. But one of the things I've got to say, and this is like from the lessons learned with the PPP, and that is a lot of us, when we're talking about a workaround, right? A lot of us were, if you have people working for you, now now, of course, we have contractors and we'll subcontract stuff out. But if you actually have a person who bona fide as an employee, right? and you're paying them via Cash App or PayPal or
Mm-hmm.
Zelle
Mm-hmm. We
or
just talked about
whatever.
this.
Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. If you are not using a formal payroll system to pay the people that you consider employees, you're also doing yourself a disservice. And you're also doing your employees a disservice.
Yep.
Why? Number one, you have no track record, no formal track record of your expenses. So when you come to file taxes and you say, "Oh, I paid $20,000 in payroll," did you? Where is it?
Right.
This cash out, where's the cash out report? I mean, you can't submit cash out for a PPP loan,
Mm-hmm. See,
you
and
know,
I will
and
be shifting all of that. See, because she got me together on this, y'all. She ain't just talking to y'all now. She got
no,
me
I know,
together on
but this,
this.
and I have to look, and this is real sister talk, right?
Yes, real sister
So
talk.
my thing is, I this is me. This is what you get. I mean, I
Yep.
have to be honest with you. This is not chastising you. This is trying to let you know this is a real issue
Yep.
that you may or may not be doing.
Yep.
And I'm here to tell you that we have to stop it. We
Yep.
have to change it. And then I'm not even going to preach to you. I'm a payroll provider. We can
Yep.
get you into a payroll. So that's the thing. It's like, all right, let's identify the problem.
Yep.
Okay. And I want to know why. Like, so why are you doing that? Oh, because employee A doesn't have a checking account. Okay, cool. Well, guess what? Cash App has a routing and accounting number, right?
Sure does. Sure does.
Walmart has prepaid debit cards, don't they?
Yep.
Honey, it's all types of prepaid cards that have routing and accounting numbers.
Yep.
That's all you need for a payroll system. Don't let anybody fool you to believe that you still got to use cash, and you do not have to use Cash App.
Yep.
And that's it. You
Yep.
don't know, you can get into a formal payroll structure. Now that comes with payroll taxes and so forth and so on, but that's why you are a business. Right.
Yep.
And so those are things
Right.
that will count in your favor. And then, like I was saying, the other benefit, let's look at it this way. As a CEO, the other benefit that you are doing on top of you having a track record for your expenses, think about now, tax time comes. Well, how is your employee going to file taxes if they don't have a W-2? And that goes back to the whole cultural conversation of what we see in some of these pop-up, tax companies where y'all just making up whole Schedule C's. You making up
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
tax returns. You making
Yeah.
it all up.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So it's a
Wow.
trickle down effect. It's a trickle down, and that's not fair to your employee.
But why would you jeopardize your business that you work hard to build just for something that's going to possibly give you a little money for that short period of time that you're gonna have to end up using and paying for something?
Like I
I
said,
just
it's to be honest with you out, and I'll keep saying because you would be surprised who doesn't have their stuff in order. Now you
oh
see what's on
yeah.
Facebook and this, that, and the other. You would be surprised. But the point of the matter is, it's easy to get behind,
It
especially when
is.
there's no one talking to you about these things.
Yes.
Especially when you feel like you don't have any options or you can't afford it. Really, and this is even just a personal lesson. I know I had to learn it, because I'm type A, and oh, I can do it myself, and as you get older, you realize, you know what, I might need to open my mouth up and say something because
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
I'm not, and so the same thing happens in your business is you have to say, okay, I think I'm going to need some help. You know what I'm saying? And even and what I like to do too when it comes to having that conversation, even if after we talk and I say, okay, this is how much it's going to how much it's going to be for you to get your stuff in order. At least
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Assuming gets you nowhere, right? And even in that instance, like say even for um payroll, right? Like you may be thinking, oh goodness, that's probably,
Still
$200 a month
expensive.
or
Yeah.
blah 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 blah
Mm-hmm.
blah a month. Well, ask,
Yeah.
do some research.
Yeah.
Get someone who can play around with the numbers, with your numbers.
Yep.
And then even if it's not in the budget right now, you're a small business owner. You know how to accomplish goals.
Yep.
Well, then now you factor in, okay, so that $24,000 that we talked about, I know that, okay, I probably need an extra $1,000 for payroll. Let me step up my game. Let me sell some more. Da, da, da. So again, like just having that information and having those conversations properly equips you with the keys that you need to successfully drive your car, right? I
Yep.
mean, because it's up to you,
Yep.
really. It still remains to be up to you. However, allowing yourself to be exposed to the information is what it has to change, because I think that that's just, again, like we talked about, sort of like this cultural thing,
Yeah.
and now in COVID times, it's all wrapped up in the same ball of anxiety. And I get that. But we have to, if we want to, truly stay open and be profitable and provide for our families and leave legacies for our children, whatever your immediate passion is for doing, starting a business, thinking about starting a business, then you got to push through it.
Yep.
You got to push through it, and you got to have the tough conversations, and empower yourself with information.
Yep. Yep. Thank you, Taliba. That was so wonderful. And y'all, I'm telling you, I had to do all of this kind of learn because I knew I wanted a different conversation to be had. And I do want to leave a legacy for my daughter. I have one child, and it's very important to me and my husband that we have her financially secure before we leave here. We want to
Mhm,
have, everything done, house. And we've even talked to her as far as, you don't have to stay here in our home, the home that we'll be in if we sell this house that we're in. And but we want you to know you will always have a home.
mhm,
This is for you. But if you decide you want to move away and do something different, that's totally her choice.
mhm,
But we want her to know that we're going to leave her with something. We're
mhm,
not just going to leave her.
mhm,
And that's how a lot of us get left, just
mhm,
left. And then we have to figure it out, and we have to, rally all the family members to take care of final expenses. No, those are going to be done. We've already sat down and talked about if one of us gets sick, how we want our long-term care to be handled. Long-term care is a real thing, people. Everybody that's out there, you guys need to be factoring in money for long-term care, because if you are not in a position that you can retire or you can stay at home and take care of your parent, somebody is going to have to be there to look after them, and they are going to require compensation
mhm.
for watching. So
Yeah.
long-term care is something that needs to be an everyday conversation. Legacy building is something that needs to be an everyday conversation. Getting your finances, taxes in order needs to be an everyday conversation. I was listening to the morning show this morning, and I heard the doctor when he was talking about Chadwick Boseman's situation. He was like, when you sitting around, you have those family gatherings. He was like, health, talking about your health,
Mhm.
finances, health. These are
Yeah.
things that we've got to start openly talking about. If not, we're going to continue leaving our kids just leaving them and
Yeah.
leaving things to them that are in such disarray, and they don't know where to begin in order to kind of I'm that's one thing my baby has she know 100% that she will not be left in a position like that, because I wasn't taught the importance of money and saving and spending and doing things in a proper manner.
Mhm,
I've learned, and I'm learning still as I go along the way, but I'm teaching her while I'm learning. And I
mhm.
want her to be right there with us. So I
Yes.
thank you so much for this information. And we're going to put the Get Bankable information. We're going to put all of Taliba's information. You can go ahead and say it so it'll be on the video, and then we'll just add it into the comments. But you can go ahead and let people know how they can reach out to you, how they can contact you, and how they can learn more about Get Bankable.
Yes. So if you just do hashtag TMB tax or TMB taxes LLC, then you should be able to pull up any of the social media or website pages. But again, you'll see my Facebook username in the group as well, and you can always directly message me. Any of those ways, we will definitely get you on the schedule to do a consult for your business. Or, like we were saying, if you're not in business and you want to work on personal credit, or learn some budgeting or tax planning options for you as a non-business owner, then we also do that as well. So you can absolutely get in contact with me and get on the schedule so we can have a talk.
Yep. And I'm one of her clients, y'all. I'm letting you know she's the real deal. I came to her and it was a lot because I used to do our taxes, but it became a lot and overwhelming for me because I needed to focus on my business, as Talib stated, and it was just a lot. So definitely, guys, and you don't have to be a millionaire thinking you need an
Wow.
accountant. You still need an accountant. You need somebody to help you, and you just need somebody to make sure that even if you do your taxes, just make sure you're doing everything and you're getting all of your benefits, that you're taking advantage of everything. And we've had a lot of changes to the tax laws, like you said, within the last 2 to 3 years. So I would just advise just even sitting down or just going, whatever products people
Mhm.
offer, to go in and just make sure that you're up to date with the most current information.
Mhm, mhm. And taxes are a year-round thing.
Yes.
If you don't leave with anything, taxes, that's how we morphed into bookkeeping and payroll and all of that stuff, is because I want my black and brown faces to understand that it's not just about tax time. You prepare for taxes throughout the year, and that's whether you're a business owner or an individual. It's a year-round thing, and it's something that, like I said, I'm passionate about educating my community on, so that we can just be our best in these areas.
Amen.
We got to change
Amen.
the conversation.
All right. And we're gonna sit around talk about something good and something positive and helpful, and not stuff that is not going to get us to where we need to be. So
Right.
that is the reason that Real Sister Talk was created. Taliba, thank you so much. I love you, love you, love you. Thank you
Love you too.
for being a guest. Thank you for sharing all your awesome information. And I'm sure we have some people that have questions. Guys, if you have additional questions, you can put them in the chat here, or you can contact Taliba directly. It doesn't matter. We talk often, so it won't be like I'll just drop by the wayside and won't contact you with her. We do talk often, and sometimes we have to make ourselves get off the phone when we are having
Yes,
conversations.
indeed.
Yes, yes. That's our mental thing. And I owe her for some mental mental therapy sessions.
I think we're even.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, thank y'all so much for who all checked in. We had people jumping in and out, and tonight was the first time I was using Stream Yard. So that's a whole nother conversation. But to the people that possibly logged in on Periscope and on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. My first time streaming to 3 different platforms at one time. So yay, me. Yay, Taliba.
We did it.
Yes, yes, yes. And so this month in the sisterhood group, Hear My Cry Sisterhood, Real Sister Talk, we will be doing entrepreneurship, just talk and things that we should be talking about every day. Even if you don't want to be a business owner, but you may be doing something now that could possibly generate some income. And we just want to make sure that you're taking advantage of all of the opportunities that are available to us.
Yes.
All righty. Well, you have an awesome and amazing night. And guys, thank y'all so much for joining me and being patient with me. I
All
love you
right. Thank
all.
y'all.
All
All
right.
right.
See you
Good night.
later. Talk to you later. Bye.
Okay.